said that the first thing that I would need would be number one, respect. So everyone in the room, nah, money, or no, power has to come first. And they wanted me to explain why I felt like respect needed to be the first thing that you received in this dynamic. This is the Subtle Blessing, and I'm so subtle. I want to talk to you guys today about a subject that I heard on Clubhouse. So every now and again, I get to pop into Clubhouse and see what's going on. The conversation is usually about some things that I don't necessarily want to continue to talk about, relationship issues and things like that, especially within the minority community. That's kind of what we focus on. But, that's social media for you. So I try my best to not necessarily indulge myself in that, but still be able to touch and talk to the people within my community. So I was able to jump into a room that didn't have anything to do with a relationship per se. So I was a little bit excited about that conversation. So I wanted to get on here and have that conversation with you all because the information that I heard within that space was pretty good. I enjoyed the conversation. So, and I think it can relate to the platform that I am fostering. So, for those of you who do not know me, I am an entrepreneur, serial one, if you want to call it that. But I've been an entrepreneur since I was 14 years old. And I started off selling candy and I got a job to do it. So, I want to give you guys some understanding that I received within that clubhouse space. So, the conversation or the topic of the room was money, power, respect. So they wanted to know what needs to come first to get to the next one. And not only what needed to come first to get to the next space, whether it be money, whether it be power, whether it be respect, but also explain in your mind why you think that that should go first, second, last, third, whatever. So my entrepreneurial mind said that the first thing that I would need would be number one, respect. So everyone in the room, nah, money, or no, power has to come first. And they wanted me to explain why I felt like respect needed to be the first thing that you received in this dynamic, right? So the reason why I feel like respect is something that you need, respect to get you a long way. You don't need power to have people respect you. You don't need money to have people respect you. Those are not necessary. You need morals. You need self-respect. The first thing that should be respected is yourself. Period. So if you are not a person who you're able to get respect, and there were a lot of people like, how you gonna pay your bills? Da, 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 da. Okay, let me explain. Money is number one. Don't get me wrong. But getting up every day, going to a job, making sure that you and your family are going to the job interview, because there are a lot of people who can choose to live with their parents. There are a lot of people who can choose to live up on a man or a woman. There are a lot of people who can choose to, hell, some people, I would rather be on the street, not be a part of the, rigmarole that is the rat race, as they call it, um, and live, however I want to live. I can live in the mountains. I can live off the grid, all that good stuff. So there are a lot of ways you can function, but if you are a person who you're following me, you're trying to build a foundation and you're trying to understand, how to get to the next level of financial, spiritual, emotional success. So within the money, power, respect conversation, respect for me comes first. Because if I can respect myself and get up and go find a job, then in the interview, sell myself to the point where someone wants to place me in their employment, and then provide a service that someone's willing to pay for. That takes a certain level of respect for my mindset, my skill, for on both sides, for myself as well as from the person who is putting me in the position. Because yeah, I can go get a job at McDonald's, but in the end, yeah, that's money, but that ain't the type of money I'm talking. That's not the type of money I'm talking about. I'm talking about the money that you can grow from, that you can sustain, that you can. Now, don't, no knocking anybody at Mickey D's and nothing like that. I started off at McDonald's, and McDonald's provided me with the ability or the desire and all this good stuff to grow within the company and all that. And not everybody not everybody is an entrepreneur. So I'm not saying that anybody who's working a 9 to 5 or anything like that, or if you work at McDonald's, you less than. No, I'm saying, okay, I've never seen a person get rich working in McDonald's. They didn't design it that way. It's not your fault. You may be the most ambitious, unless you're going to be the CEO, CFO, COO of McDonald's. It ain't gonna be you. And that's like somebody trying to, okay, there are 1,000 people competing for the same basketball position you trying to compete for every year. There's at least 1,000 people compete for that same position. Don't get me wrong, you may have skills, but they can't pick everybody. So respect is number one for me, because if I have respect for myself to get up and go get employment, if I have respect for myself to get up and go make sure my children are okay, that's respect for me. That's respect for the understanding and the hierarchy of what it takes to be successful, period. That's respect. Respect will give me money because I get put in a position because I respected myself to get up and not be on someone, to not think that it's necessary for me to sit here and wait for someone to provide for me, or not just wait for somebody to provide for me, but to be a useful tool within the space that I'm in. My children need me to get up and go to work. My spouse would need me to get up and go to work. You know what I mean? To be able to lift off burdens of people, that's respect within the space. So, number one, respect. Number two is money. So, through the respect that I've received in the arena that I'm in, I was able to take advantage of an opportunity that in my head I was prepared for, but in reality I was not. But because I gained respect, I had money, I created situations on the level that I was on and the arena that I'm playing in. I created situations in my head, and people within that space would say that I was going towards the level of success, and this opportunity should be able to get me to the next level. And that's where that guap come in. Needing to have money to be able to play in the arena. Somebody said in the clubhouse space, the love of money is the root of all evil. Actually they said money is the root of all evil, and I had to, nah, it's the love of money that's the root of all evil, but it's the love of anything outside of the Most High. If you're gonna quote, scripture, it's the love of anything outside of what is God. If you're going to be in the Bible, it's the love of anything outside of God. In the sense of worshiping, you cannot worship anything outside of God. So if you are worshiping the spirit of money, yes, that is an issue. Because money is a spirit. You can attract it. You can also repel it. So if you are worshiping the spirit of material things and the ability to obtain material things, not for the success or the glorification of, then you're in the wrong. That's if you're going to do the scripture, right? But it's the love of money. But also, it says, render unto Caesar's that which is Caesar's. It says, pay your bills, basically. You have to live in this world. You don't have to be of this world. So even in the word, it recognizes that money is necessary to be successful. But it should not be what drives you. It's a tool. So in your drive to success, you need this tool, which is money. Jesus walked town to town. He didn't have a job, but he had respect. He wasn't hungry. People followed him. So, yeah. Render unto Caesar's that which is Caesar. So money is necessary, but money is not first, in my opinion. And man, if you don't agree with me, please, I'm willing to have a conversation. Tell me why. But money is number two. I went and I got on this job, and I was playing in an arena with people who I didn't have. I shouldn't have been in. I learned a lesson, so I was supposed to be there. But with what I have versus what's necessary to be in that space, to be able to play the game they were playing. See, if they wasn't playing games, I would have been fine. But I had to realize this is all a game. All of it's a game. But I had to experience this to prepare me. Preparation, pivot, restructuring, understanding. So I went on ahead, and I'm in the midst of that situation as we speak. And the pivot is beautiful. The situation sucks. And I'm not going to get too much into it just because there may be some legal, ramifications. But the situation sucks. And when that's all over, we'll talk about it. But until then, the situation sucks. But the last thing is, if you can play in that arena, right? And if you can play in that arena and come out on top in that arena that I'm trying to play in, within that space, that allows you a certain level of power. And depending on who has that power, it can be a beautiful thing. It can be a terrible thing. Because with power comes influence. A lot of people think because you have influence, you have some kind of, a lot of people think because you have influence, you have some kind of power. That's not true. Influence is a part of power. Power is not a part of influence. If you look up power, I believe, because I'm not looking it up, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I've done it before. I believe influence is a part of the definition of power. But if you look up power, I believe influence is a part of the definition of power. But if you look up the word influence, I don't think influence is, I don't think power is a part of the definition of influence. If you look up influence, I don't think power is a part of the definition of influence. To be influential, in my opinion, doesn't mean that you're powerful. But to be powerful, I believe you need to be influential in your space, whatever that may be. So, to be influential, you have to be respected by somebody enough to be listened to. Then you have to be able to provide people with the reason to stay around. So even if I'm not greasing palms or paying for lawyers and things like that, I need money because I can't influence you. This doesn't happen for free. So to be influential, I have to be able to reach people. That takes money. And then through that influence, I begot a certain level of power if you do it right. So, yeah, that was a conversation on Clubhouse. I thought it was a pretty cool conversation. Thought it was important. So, I need y'all to understand respect money to get you your power.